Hi FlossTube friends! My name is Caitlin and this is my little corner of the internet where I talk about my crafting. Mostly cross stitch with a little bit of sewing and knitting sprinkled in here and there. Today is Monday, March 14th, and I am checking in to let you know how I fared during the month of February. I am off work today because one of our actors tested positive for COVID. If you're new here, I work in television in the props department. So we have the day off today while they reorganize our schedule around that particular actor's quarantine. Work hours have been really long, so life remains hectic. Work is super busy. Our toddler, who will be 18 months this week, I can't believe it, is crazy busy, running around, getting into everything. Still not sleeping very much. Just, she's so busy, so much energy. So stitching and crafting remains minimal. But you know, the weather's warming up and spring is in the air, and we wrap up my show soon in April, and then I will be off. Well, I'll be the stay-at-home parent until July. My husband and I swap back and forth because he also works in television. So I'm looking forward to that. And there should be a little bit more stitchy time once that happens. I don't know what's going on with my hair today. Check out those grays. They're new this year. Okay, stitchy stuff. So first up, purchases. None. Zero. Zilch. Nothing. Nothing new. 2022 remains intact. Although there were some really tempting market releases, like really tempting. Oh, Stephanie, Lindy Stitches. So cute. All her stuff is always so cute. Some super tempting market releases, but I remain strong. There have been some very tempting subscription boxes. I need to get off the Black Needle Society mailing list because they keep reaching out to me and tempting me, but I remain strong. So no new purchases, and there were also no new starts. Okay, so next up is finishes. I do have one finish to share with you. It's not that big, but it's done. I finished up my little coin purse travel project that I was working on the last time I saw you. So it needs to be steamed and stretched out a little bit, and the back is a mess and needs to be snipped. I'm trying to decide if I need to put some interfacing or something on the back to kind of cover some of those carried stitches and protect them a little bit. But other than that, it's all finished. So, because it's already assembled. So this should be all done to give to my mother-in-law for Mother's Day in a couple months. I think it'll only take me a couple hours to get this steamed and stretched out. So just that one little finish there, and now on to whips. Like I said, my hours at work lately have been super long, so I really only usually get 1 or 2 days of stitching in a week, usually only on the weekend. I just don't feel like it after work. Sometimes I do stitch at work on my lunch break, but I've been mostly knitting at work lately. But I have managed to continue to work every other week on Sampler Story. And I did manage some pretty good progress this month. So, you know, I don't have the chart here with me to show you, so I'll insert a picture here of the chart. And I have made some pretty good progress on it. So I think the last time you saw it, I had just finished this block here and started this block. So I did start on get a bit done on this block. I started this girl and the rabbit and the tree, and then I realized I was missing, I was working on it at work and I was missing some colors I needed for this block. Like I was missing the red color, so I came down here and started to work on this church block because I had all the necessary colors. So I think I got about like 700 stitches done on it this month. It doesn't look like much, but these blocks are pretty dense. They're like at least 1,000 to 2,000 stitches each. So, and I also did some more border, obviously. This is about 25% done now, according to the Stitch Pal app. Thank you, Jessie Marie, for making us aware of that app. So I'm about a quarter of the way done. So, you know, if I keep up at this pace, I could probably finish it by next year, the end of next year. Maybe faster if I work a little quicker. So I worked on 2 new to you projects this month as well. I started these last year and never did a video update about them. So the first one of those is Mother's Tree by Lavender and Lace. I think, was it Pam who did this one? It's a really beautiful chart. It only uses 3 colors, 2 greens, and I think it's a gray. And it's meant to be a maternal family tree. I don't know if that's the right word. It goes up, you know, it goes up the mother's side all the way up. So I have been working on this, but most of the time I have spent working on this has involved charting. I started this Mother's Day of last year because I have a daughter now. It was my first Mother's Day, and most of what I have done on this has involved charting, and I spent all this time charting out the names and the dates, and then the paper, I didn't make a copy of it. I did it by hand, and then the paper I did it on was in my backpack, and I got caught in the rain and it got wet. And so now I have to redo that charting because it's illegible, which is so frustrating. But I have managed a few stitches on it. The last time I worked on this, I only had a 2. And then, so, you know, I got the year 2020 and a start of my birth year here. So I've done a little bit of work on it. This is being stitched with the Called for DMC on 36 count flax Edinburgh linen. And I'm doing it from the bottom up because I haven't finished doing all my research on our family tree. So I've gotten up pretty far, but I think I can get a little bit further. So I wasn't sure how much space I needed, so I decided to start at the bottom, and then when I get stuck on names, then I'll do the tree. The next new to you project I have to share is by Kingsland Samplers. It is this stocking here from the stocking book number 7. It's called the Fair Isle Stocking. I'm working on this for my husband. I started this last year, I think in December, maybe. I don't remember, and I never showed it to you. So here is what I have so far. I think it goes up this way. When I pulled this out, I flew out to LA for a friend's baby shower, and I took this with me to work on in the airport because it only has a few colors in it. They're all blends, but it only has a few colors there. You can see it better there. And I only had a few stitches done, and I got a lot of work done in the airport and on the plane. So I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I'm stitching this on 28 count opal white cashel using mostly the called for colors. I think I subbed out the reds because I didn't have what was called for. They're all blends, but it's like 2 different colors of green, 2 different colors of gray, 2 different colors of red, and 2 different colors of tan. It's not super complicated, but it is turning out really beautifully. I'm stitching this with 2 strands instead of 3, which might be a mistake, but I think from far away it looks pretty good. I don't know, maybe the colors are too muddy because I'm only using 2 strands. Close up it looks a little muddy, but from far away where it will be viewed hanging, I think it looks pretty good. So that's where I am on that one. The last WIP I have to show you, I technically worked on in the month of March. I worked on it this past week because we're 2 weeks into March because I'm really behind on filming my update. It's also by Kingsland Sampler, and it is the Learned Wife Sampler. I talked about this a little bit a couple of videos ago, and how I'm stitching this as a companion piece to Bendy Stitchy's Drama Llama sampler. I am stitching this on the called for fabric, which is Witchelt 32 count sand stone / tea-dyed linen. Had a name change at some point. And this is what I have done. I just have a start on the corner border and these vines. This border is a specialty stitch. It's called a long-armed cross stitch. So it's not really that special, but it looks kind of cool. And then I worked on these vines. I got about 200 stitches done on this, and the last time I had it out, I had like literally 3 stitches done. So that's some pretty good progress for only a couple days. Worked on it this week. So that's it for cross stitch whips. I do have a knitting whip to share with you. I got my knitting bug back a little bit on that trip to California. On the return flight, I got some knitting finally cast on. So this is the bird print cushion by West Yorkshire Spinners. Is it Yorkshire or Yorkshire? It's Yorkshire, right? People in the UK are cringing at me right now. It's a free pattern. You can get it on Lovecrafts. I can link to you below where you can get the pattern, and it's meant to be stitched up in their yarn. I'm using their yarn, Erin Waite, in their Country Birds collection. This is the Blue Tit colorway. And this has been a nice, easy travel project. It's just stockinette stitch and moss stitch every 10 rows, 2 rows of moss stitch. And it has given me some confidence back and helped me get back on the knitting train. And it's been really a pleasure to work on the train and at work on my lunch break. So this is what I have been doing as a travel project lately. It's a little squished up. You can't really see it right now. If it's not obvious by the name of the pattern, it is a cushion cover. So this will hopefully get finished up and go on my couch. So that's it for whips. I do have some books to share with you. Long commutes in the month of February meant a lot of audiobooks. So since I last saw you, I have read 3 murder mysteries because that's kind of my favorite genre, and also 1 nonfiction. So first up, I read The Killings at Kingfisher Hill, which is a Hercule Poirot book by Sophie Hannah. Obviously, Agatha Christie created the character of Poirot. You probably know that. And you also probably know that she is dead. Sophie Hannah received permission or a license, I guess, from Christie's estate to write more books using the Poirot character. And I've been enjoying reading them. They're not as good as the originals, but, and I wouldn't compare them really to Christie's writing, but I would call them an excellent homage to Christie's work. I think this is the 4th book in the series, and probably one of the better ones I've read so far. The ending was maybe a little weak. The motive or like solution to the crime, not the most believable, I would say. That's the best I can say without giving too much away. But all in all, I really enjoyed it. If you're into British murder mysteries, check out Sophie Hannah's Agatha Christie Poirot series. I think you'll like what she has. Murder mystery number 2 was The Man Who Died Twice. This is the sequel to the Thursday Murder Club, which is a cozy British murder mystery about a group of elderly amateur sleuths who live in a retirement community together. The first book was great, and this one was even better. If you like a cozy mystery, this book will not disappoint you. The characters are super well written. There's plenty of humor and charm. The plot moves along really well with plenty of twists and turns. The author for this one is Richard Osman, and I really liked it. I read it for free from the library, and then I bought it on Audible so I could listen to it again. Last, and certainly least, I read The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. This book is about a dog walker named Jane who by chance ends up in a relationship with a wealthy widower in a very upscale community. But like in all good mysteries, things are not what they seem. This book is supposed to be a twist on Jane Eyre, which admittedly I have never read. I just borrowed it from the library. I know. How have I never read that? I just borrowed it from the library. So I can't really comment yet on whether or not it was true to the original work. But I can say the first like 70% of this book was pretty good. The characters are all completely unlikable. They're all horrible people who completely deserve each other. And normally that would give me a hard time in a book, but this novel, the plot and the writing kept me captivated and wanting to know what was going to happen, and kept me engaged, even though I hated every single character so much. But about 2/3 of the way through the book, things just kind of fall apart. It just becomes like really too far-fetched and unbelievable, even for a murder mystery. I mean, most of the book is told through the perspective of two women, and then all of a sudden at the climax, a third perspective of another person is thrown in there just for 1 or 2 chapters. And frankly, that ruined the climax for me. And I thought it was lazy, and I don't know, it just could have been done better. So I don't know, 2.5 stars for this one. I would call it a good beach read. And the nonfiction book I mentioned that I read was The House of Gucci. It took me so long to finish this book. I really didn't like it. The cover calls it a sensational story of murder, madness, glamour, and greed. In fairness, maybe I am not the target audience for this book. I like true crime books. And I picked this up because I thought it was a true crime book, which it advertised itself as, because, you know, it says murder is like on the cover. But I think this is really more of a book written for people who are enthusiastic about the history of fashion and the history of luxury goods, and who care about luxury goods and brands. If you can't tell by my very stylish pajamas, I am not interested in fashion at all. You know, besides like the basics of wanting to wear clothes that are flattering. I'm really not interested in fashion. I'm really not interested in luxury brands. And I really couldn't care less about the problems of rich, greedy people who really kind of deserve it when bad things happen to them. So I did not enjoy this book. But I can't really tell if that's because it was poorly written. It was really, really well researched. But it was also really long and maybe went into too much detail. Like, do I really need to know several paragraphs worth of the backstory of the doorman who saw Mauricio Gucci get shot? I don't think I do, you know? Also, if you're gonna put murder on the cover, like, more than 3% of the book needs to be about the murder. It was like there was a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end, but I thought this was a book about the murder of Mauricio Gucci, and it was not so much. It was mostly a book about it was mostly a book about the history of Gucci, from how it started, which was interesting, to the large corporation it is now, like luxury goods conglomerate it is now, which is less interesting, and I really don't care. You know? Like, but yeah, maybe I'm just not the target audience. I don't know. If you're into fashion, maybe you'll like it. So that is everything I have to share. Wow, I got it all done during my toddler's nap. That was a quick one. I'm sure when I go to edit this, I'll realize I'm missing something, or I sped my way through and mumbled too much. I don't know. But that is all I have to share right now and all the time I have. So I will see you again at the end of March or beginning of April to fill you in on everything else I worked on and a couple books and I don't know, all that fun stuff. I hope you're all enjoying the spring weather if you're in this hemisphere, and that your spirits are lifting. My spirits are lifting. It's so nice to see the sun come out, and daylight savings time was yesterday, which even though you lose an hour of sleep, I don't know, it always makes me feel so much better when the sun is still, like when it's not completely dark at 4 o'clock. Man, so yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying your stitching and your crafting, and that you're getting outside and getting some sunshine, and that it's not snowing anymore where you are. We had snow yesterday. Ugh. Go away, winter. And I will see you all again really soon. Bye.